to the K to the K.
Carlito re-signs with WWE.
He does. WWE is in talks with Disney or Amazon or many other people.
They like to talk. We have an update on Drew McIntyre's WWE status.
Kevin Nash is threatening WWE with potential lawsuits.
Mandy Rose discusses whether or not she will return to wrestling.
Moose has confirmed he has returned. Well, not returned. He's signing with Impact
He's
again.
still there.
We'll talk about that in a sec.
Does Top Dollar have backstage heat?
Oh, yes, they do. Former NXT talent has branded WWE as a little bit toxic.
A little bit. Chris Hero joins AEW.
Jeff Hardy will not be wrestling in indie promotions going forward.
Damn, Anthony Wendell is coming up.
Right, freaking now. Damn it! So close!
Got it a week. Yeah, we've had a week off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as long as next week you absolutely nail it.
Got it nailed.
Be fine. Yeah. Be fine. But, Anthony, exciting news potentially. Carlito Caribbean Cool himself may be returning to WWE. Now, this still hasn't been confirmed officially, but by all accounts, he has cancelled pretty much all of his upcoming indie bookings.
Bar one.
He
wrestled back at Cardona quite recently. That was still an indie booking.
But bar that one. But now, no more.
No more.
That was the last one. So obviously he came back, didn't he? At that show, Backlash, Puerto Rico. He was there for that, and he looked good. And I think when we first saw him come back in the Royal Rumble, we were like, we need to get him back. It's Carlito, he's boss.
It's a roller coaster ride. His return to WWE, isn't it? Really?
It is. Kind of like, is he? Isn't he? Is he? Isn't he? And it looks like he might be, in fact. But I'm excited, you know.
I am, but what I'm a bit concerned is, because of the way he came back at Backlash, is that they're going to oversaturate the LWO here.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'd rather he come back as just Carlito. Have a run as Carlito, you know?
I want to see him come back and beat Theory and become the US champ.
That would be pretty cool.
That's what he needs to do. That'll be like, yes, he is back. But did you see at some other recent... Did you see this? We heard about this? Some other indie booking he did. He actually addressed all this and said the rumours are true. He did teach Viking El Hijido, whatever he's called, all his moves. The other guy who does like all crazy flip shit.
Nice.
So it was like, is he trying? But yeah, so still not 100% confirmed, but it appears Mr. Carlito may be set for a return.
Well, rumour has it, Carl, that a grocery truck full of apples has been delivered to the performance centre, so that's got to be a sign.
Maybe.
Yeah, I can just make shit up. It don't matter.
Yeah. Why not?
So, Carl, strange connection this, but according to Freddie Prinze Jr. On his Wrestling with Freddie,
was it on his show?
On his podcast, he talked about the WWE, and you may be like, well, why is he talking about the WWE? He doesn't work there. But apparently, he said that he knows that Amazon are interested in WWE as far as network deals go. Obviously, because their contract with Fox and Comcast is coming up in 2024. And he says he knows that Amazon are interested because he sort of, I suppose, gleaned that from a conversation he had with Amazon regarding his wrestling promotion and the possibility of it being on there. And obviously, Amazon have shown an interest in the sporting world. I believe in the US, they've got the NFL and stuff on there now. Obviously, over here, they've got the for the Americans, soccer, the football over here on there. Yeah. So they are interested in moving into the sporting elements of it. Now, the interesting thing with this is that Amazon have always kind of not really been forthcoming with their viewing figures. So WWE, who love to sort of use those figures, it'd be an interesting change for them. Where, like, you know, well, I say WWE, look at the way everyone wars over something. 2 million versus so many of them, like 1,000 in another company who shall not be named. You go, that game's kind of going to go away if you go with Amazon because you're not going to get viewing figures.
Yeah,
I guess.
Interesting
I don't know.
point. I mean, I don't know though, to be fair, because like obviously Netflix and stuff gives their figures out, don't they? So I don't know whether it's available and shareable for stuff like that. It might just be
maybe, but I don't think it'd be an interesting step. But another potential interesting step, Carl, would be Disney are allegedly interested, which I think we've always kind of had that thought that maybe Disney would want to pick them up. I think even when it comes to buying WWE, we were thinking possibly Disney. Now, personally, I think that is probably the factor that if Disney weren't interested in buying them, are they going to be interested in televising them anyway?
Yeah.
Like when they could have held the whole thing if they wanted to.
Yeah. Were they talking about sticking it on FX or something? Like one of the...
I mean, this is the thing. It's possible. Is there FX with them?
That's what I mean, because I thought that was like Fox, but then they're already on Fox.
But then, weird. Well, Fox is a bit of a, like, because hasn't that kind of been torn apart a little bit anyway by Disney? I don't know. Anyway, but the potential of them being on Disney Plus, some of the suggestion here is that, you know, is this going to dictate what kind of product WWE are going forward? Like, if they go with Amazon, are they going to be able to be a more adult product? If they go with Disney, are they going to fall into the Disney format? I think it's probably different for the States than it is for us, because Disney isn't really the House of Mouse over here. They have you know, Star, and they have all the actual grown up content, if you will. So it doesn't, like, although it's Disney Plus, it doesn't really feel like I guess we can only watch Snow White. You know, there's loads of content on there. So for me, it wouldn't, even if they were a more edgier product, it wouldn't really be odd on Disney Plus over here. I don't know if that's still the case in the States. I know it's still a bit split out, isn't it? Really? Yeah,
I think it's a bit weird in the States. Like certain stuff, like for example, like Only Murders in the Building, that is over on Hulu. In the States, but it's on Disney Plus over here. So
but we don't have Hulu over here, do we? So they kind of like
same with like Peacock and stuff, isn't it, as well? So
yeah.
It's all a bit mad, but it's an interesting one because they do good numbers for USA and Fox. So I think you can see why other people want to pick them up and get them on their networks or whatever. But exciting times. See where it ends up.
Indeed.
But yeah, as you say, if they don't release the viewing figures, how are people, you know, going to cope, not losing their minds every week by saying, like, you know, oh, Dynamite only did this.
What are we going to do? Yeah.
Speaking of things, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Drew McIntyre doesn't come back, Anthony. Keeps me up at night.
Why is he drinking an espresso?
Yeah, I realise this doesn't like he's wearing any pants.
I'm starting to think he didn't get this from wrestling.
Yeah. This might have been from the personal collection. But this one comes from Uncle Dave, who, via the Wrestling Observer, has suggested that WWE are looking to bring Drew McIntyre back imminently, perhaps even for Money in the Bank, because obviously he's British and it's over in London, so obviously that connection works.
Dave's just playing the odds there. Well, Drew McIntyre is not currently on TV and is British, so my sources tell me they'll want him back for Money in the Bank.
Exactly.
Wow, how did you possibly figure
Plans
this one out?
may change, you know, but it's just like, let's just all have a guess. And if it comes true, we can say how sourced.
My sources.
But it is a weird one with Drew, isn't it? The fact that he still hasn't come back yet since Mania.
It is interesting.
By all accounts, his contract's going to finish up at the next WrestleMania. And if he doesn't resign. He doesn't resign. He'll resign. He will. Then apparently he wants creative control to make sure that the final part of his WWE run is going to be meaningful and memorable. So it could be that the reason he's not back yet, he's waiting on for some creative because where does he slot in at the minute? Because Seth Rollins has got stuff going on. Roman Reigns is just in tag match. The whole bloodline thing's still going, isn't it? So you bring him back and do what? Have him feud with random mid-carders again.
Sadly, I think Drew's position in the company is massively affected by their interest in Cody, and that's no disrespect to Cody, but
even
for me, like on my side of it though, I would be like, well, you do exactly what you're doing with Cody with Drew, right? But you can't because you're doing that with Cody, and that's no thingy to Cody. But for me, is like Drew's in that position where he is gonna be in the world title picture again at some point, so you keep him in relevant feuds. So if Drew was feuding with Brock right now and then heading back towards Roman, and he was the one who's going to dethrone Roman, that would work just as well as the Cody situation. But you can't have two of them, and their interest is in Cody. So I feel that's where the problem is, really.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
They're both super talented. So again, it's no disrespect to Cody.
Yeah,
it's just for me, he's the other Cody guy. And there's some space there right now.
The problem is though as well is he can't be the Cody guy really, because he's done the stuff Cody's, like the feuds Cody's doing. He's you know what I mean, he's been against Brock and
there's no one else to feud with though.
Gone against Roman and stuff already. So yeah,
what else do you do with him?
Exactly, which is I guess is half of the battle, isn't it? Because he absolutely deserves to be there. And I'd have him come back and feud with Seth, make him a heel.
I would have him come back and take some umbrage to the Judgment Day feud with Damian Priest personally.
Yeah, could do.
I don't know how you'd work that story-wise. He'd have to like come back and then they piss him off in some way for that to happen. But
Well, yeah. I mean, you got Cody going feuding up with Dominic, so yeah, I'd rather see him against Damian.
of course, Cody's feuding with Dominic.
Yeah,
of course he is.
Young, hot prospect, getting a lot of attention at the minute. And me, sign me up.
Like the most thinly veiled. Like, I want to help younger talent. Like, but you're not.
I want to.
You're not. You egomaniac.
Feel some of the shine from the younger talent. So yeah, Drew McIntyre may be back as soon as Money in the Bank, but only if creative allows for it, which I don't know if it's
interesting stuff.
Maybe not.
Interesting stuff. Speaking of interesting stuff, Carl, Kevin Nash. He's not a happy man at the moment. Speaking recently on his podcast, I think is it Click This he calls it.
I think so.
Yeah. He has been talking about merchandise revenue, namely the NWO stuff.
Yes.
And apparently he didn't really or doesn't get any money from the NWO merch. And he said that WWE had previously tried to sort of bat him off with like, being in the video games and getting the Funko Pops and stuff, but it basically is like I think he's getting like 17% of the Funko Pops, but
right.
It's like that is small revenue to the money he could be making. And he sort of the analogy he gave, which is interesting. He said it's like them going like we can get like 17% of these ketchup packets that we sell, but he's not getting any. He's not getting 70% of the big fucking bottles in the supermarket, sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, I take his point. And the NWO merch is like massively hot seller. And to be honest, even like things like the LWO will probably encourage more NWO sales because then people nostalgia pop, don't they?
Yeah.
And for the man who basically created it, part of that movement, it is crazy that like apparently the revenue is just not coming to him.
So he did, but does he own it?
Well, this is the thing.
It's kind of like, well, you know what I mean? It's like, should he get any money from this?
Well, I don't know the legalities, and this is his podcast and his personal feelings that he should be getting some revenue from that. I don't know the legality. Presumably, WWE have got the rights to it, which is why he ain't getting no money.
Yeah.
But he feels he should, and this is where you go, well, he may take legal action if he wins, then clearly he should have been making.
I can understand if like Hogan's getting money and Bischoff's getting money and he's not, but if neither of them two are getting money either, then
yeah, I mean Bischoff's like. He's just away in his own world saying that he'll never work with AEW or WWE, even if they asked, even though we all know that's not true.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
He's just there. He's just waiting to do a big gotcha, isn't he? He's like I'll prove it. Just, ring me up, make me an offer, and just you'll see.
Yeah. So you better not ask, because I'll say no.
Hi, it's Tony Khan. Yes. Fuck.
1,000 times, yes.
What have we done? Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't see why they would pay him if he doesn't own the trademark or anything to do with it. Like, I get it, he was in that faction, but it's like, does he have a royalty contract for you know what I mean?
I kind of feel for him because, like you say, like, does he? I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of the legalities of the branding. Presumably, when they bought WCW, they bought everything about it. But I got a feel for the guy who made the NWO relevant. So the sales, he's responsible for those sales, really, because if the NWO weren't as big a thing as it was when him and Scott fucking made it, then what? Like, I don't know. How's that even work?
I'd be fascinated to know whether like any of the DX guys still get cuts of any merch and stuff like that.
There seems to be like a lot of like this sort of thing with WWE at the minute where they're not really looking after the legends as much anymore. I don't know if you've noticed that, but there's like seems to be a few things where it's like, oh yeah, we've got some legend contracts, he can appear and stuff, but they're not really not really like treating them as they used to, Yeah. And this is a clear sign. I think Road Dogg's made some similar comments in the past, although he's still very much a Triple H guy. Sean, obviously, they gave him NXT, so I think he's quite happy. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. Is this part of the ethos that Nick Khan's brought in? They're a sports company, and
if you don't need to pay someone money and you can keep that money, then from a business standpoint,
it's like some accountant somewhere's just had a genius. Like, but if we keep the money, profits go up.
I'm sure that's exactly how it happened, to be fair. Speaking of people's profits going up, Anthony, Mandy Rose was recently, I want to say, interviewed by someone somewhere because we're great at what we do. We know these things.
Not us, we don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Come on the show, Mandy. Talk to us. But she's basically asked whether there's a return to WWE on the cards. To which she said she's not ruling out a return to wrestling. She's working through a lot of stuff at the minute. She's got her own skincare brand. She's got obviously Mandy's Donuts. She's working at her dad's deli. How's she do? I think she's trying to rebrand that and stuff. And obviously she's still got a fan time.
Yeah, she does some sort of like pictures on the internet or something that may
millions,
make her a little bit of money, but it's more about the deli. You know, that's
the passion project. But yeah, I suppose so. Essentially, she's not ruled it out, but at the same time, you can kind of still like if you get an absolute bank to not like mutilate your body all the time, and actually,
mutilate's a bit extreme.
You've taken a bump.
Not recently.
Well, do it, and you tell me how mutilated you are. But yeah, so I don't know. It's a shame. Like, I still think it's a crying shame. She really, because I will eat my hat when it comes to Mandy Rose because I hated her on the main roster. Thought it was awful. She didn't deserve to be there. All credit to her. She went. I'm gonna drop down to NXT. Yeah, redefined herself. Rebuilt herself.
Reclaimed herself.
Do I get some revenue? I'm going to speak to Kevin Nash.
I think you should.
Am I entitled to something? But yeah, thought she killed it at NXT. A shame the circumstances, especially now. Like just what like she was doing porn. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe there was like a couple of like nudity.
I still maintain. I know we had this rant back when they sacked her for it, but still maintain the issue wasn't what she was doing. It was the fact that they weren't making fucking money.
Well, it's like the Twitch deals are back now, aren't they? But WWE make a significant cut of that. It's like,
and that's basically like we don't care if you get your ass out, but we own that ass.
Well,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, okay. Thanks WWE. That's how they are.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
So, very petty, but I do hope we get to see her again. I do think she was kind of getting a stride, but
it's a real shame because the momentum is flattened. She'd have to like start again now in a way.
I'm not convinced we will. I think she's just done because if she's making absolute bank,
saying, "Oh, I don't know, let me think about it. Will I go back?"
So yeah, we will see. But
I keep doing things that just don't go to an audio format.
I know.
No one knows what I did there.
Yeah, see that's the extra benefits of watching it on YouTube.
True.
But obviously, we do love the audio listeners. OGs. The OGs.
The OGs. So, Carl, Moose put a cryptic tweet up the other day. I think, personally, I thought he was initially trolling us a little bit, making it sound like he's leaving Impact. What he did confirm, though, was that not only is he not leaving Impact, he has some unfinished business. I loved his whole statement, actually, because he said when people talk Impact, they think of like your Tommy Dreamers and your Kurt Angles and they're the people who are AJ Styles. Thank you. They're the people who are sort of synonymous with Impact, and he wants his name to be up there as well. He wants to be someone that you think of when you think of Impact, and to that end, he has a lot more work to do with Impact. So much so that he's confirmed on his tweet that he has not only re-signed with them, he has signed the longest contract that's ever been signed with Impact.
Yeah.
So,
must be good for at least
600 years.
6 months.
That is savage. Oof. So yeah, he's got a 12-month deal, and he didn't confirm how long he signed for, but it's apparently the longest contract they've done, which is interesting. So you're going to get a lot more Moose on your Impact.
Hell yeah, there's a moose loose about this Impact zone. But yeah, you know what? I made up for him. Fair play, because I know that there was offers from other companies and stuff like that. So I guess
you got to appreciate the brand loyalty there, because he's stuck with Impact. He's not done with it. He wants to be a legend in the company that he's been sort of holding up, really. So he could like you say, he could have tried to go somewhere else, but I actually kind of admire the fact that he's gone, no, Impact's my house.
Hell yeah. So fair play to Moose. Now this next one is interesting. So by all accounts, Top Dolla got some heat backstage. Apparently he is known to rub a few people the wrong way.
I feel so bad.
He should stop trying to give people massages.
When you announced this before, and you were like, Top Dolla's heat, I was like,
They,
because I thought the faction was called Top Dollar.
That's how irrelevant
the faction's Hit Row, isn't it?
It is.
And he's Top Dollar. I am so sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I give zero fucks about the faction, so it's hard to know.
Well, it's how irrelevant it is, isn't it? But, he's been getting, I won't say buried as such, but like Michael Cole likes to kind of go off on him quite a bit and kind of like, ever since he did the botch on over the top rope and stuff like that, he has little kind of what do you call it? Little digs. Yeah. Constantly at him every week, but this past week they had like a tag team turmoil match, and what was it like? It's a gauntlet match. That's the one. They had a gauntlet match, and it was like different teams, and basically Brawling Brutes were kind of beating everybody in around about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, until Hit Row came in. Top Dollar got in the ring, got kicked in the face, and was pinned in about 6 seconds.
Damn.
And people are like, okay, yeah, he's definitely getting buried. So the belief is, because of his kind of backstage demeanour and how people have been reacting to him, that he's got a bit of heat and it's not looking good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard rumours that, is it like he wasn't showing like certain legends the right respect? Because it's a very fickle little business.
It's a very strange backstage environment.
Yeah.
Like, they talk about it getting much better, but I think there's still elements.
It's funny because the next one is going to be sort of touching on that as well. But it's interesting. I always kind of wonder with stuff like this, though, is like, what is truly being buried? Like, he's not exactly sat in catering with no one seeing him. He's on TV in front of thousands of people, admittedly being the butt of the joke, but we're talking about him and he's on TV. So how buried are we talking, really? Yeah. Like, I don't, because it is speculative. For me, if you're going to truly bury the guy, you go, you're not on fucking TV then?
Yeah. No, there is that. I think, though, if the rumours are true and budget cuts are coming and talent cuts are coming,
Budget cuts are coming.
Budget cuts are coming. Bye, Top Dollar. What was that, Toys R Us?
That's the Coca-Cola Christmas thing, isn't it?
No, Toys R Us. It is Coca-Cola. I don't drink Coca-Cola. So, anyway.
Toys R Us, does that even exist anymore? I think it's back. Is it back?
I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, let's move on from my stupidity.
Okay, so I'm gonna need access to a link here, Carl, because I can't remember this talent's name. Because apologies, but this is not a former NXT talent I'm familiar with. But what we're going to talk about is Anya Zova, who is a former NXT developmental talent who signed in 2012 and was released not long after, to be honest with you. But she actually filed a lawsuit against WWE in 2017, and the original claim was that they did not train inexperienced talent properly, like safety elements, I imagine. And then she actually withdrew it a few months later, so that kind of came to nothing. But now she has a sort of a podcast where she's talking about, her life and her career, and she's actually addressed the whole situation. So for those of you who are interested, you'll have to find a podcast because I don't know. I'll developmentally speaking, there you go. Yeah. I did find it in the end, right? So she was talking about...
not her podcast.
On the podcast. She said it on that podcast, so it's not her.
I was going to say, I know those guys. I quite like them guys, to be fair. Just a little shout out for them. They go back through the whole developmental system and get guests on from the developmental times and stuff. So, okay.
Well, now they've made the news.
There you go.
Yeah,
good for them.
So sorry, I didn't correctly said her podcast on the developmentally speaking podcast.
And I didn't mean to be like, that's not like what come across as twats.
But she was saying basically, she mentioned a few things. So she said about like you sort of how you feel as a developmental talent if you get, like she said, if you get see a call coming in from Canyon on your phone, you're like, oh shit, am I getting fired? That sort of thing. But she sort of talked about generally how the division works and was saying that there's so much politics in WWE that you have to be a certain type of person, you have to really understand the politics, and you have to like navigate all that, but then you also have to be really good and really professional, and there's a lot of sort of difficult elements to navigate when you're trying to become the next big thing in WWE. And she sort of branded it as a little bit toxic, which sort of, to be honest, echoes some sentiments that you hear from, usually disgruntled talent, to be fair. But I think WWE, sadly, I think most wrestling companies actually are in this situation, aren't they, where if you're like the popular one, then you're going to come out of it going, it's a fucking brilliant company. Of course you are. John Cena's never going to go, yeah, WWE, bunch of cunts, right?
They never did right by me.
Yeah. Well,
okay, John.
Because, of course, if you're all being looked after, you either aren't aware of the people being treated like shit or you don't care, right?
Or you're usually the one treating them like shit.
Yeah, that too. Or shitting in there. Look, I'm only kidding, he's a lovely guy now. But, like, I understand that people probably will have bad things to say about them, and I understand people's experience probably would have been bad. It doesn't make the company as a whole a bad place to work. You just have to be the right person, sadly. And like this, like she's talked about, like sort of consciously have to be aware of the politics and being that type of person, and these are things that she deliberately had to navigate, and that she's even said herself she's learning to navigate. But that comes more natural to some people. So like there will be people who've gone, I didn't notice that, because they just naturally move through that world anyway, because that's just how they are. So it's a strange thing, and I think there's a lot of walks of life that are a bit like that. But it's a shame to think that when you are at your greenest, when you're coming into developmental and you need to learn the business, that you basically get shit for not knowing the business, which is insane, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is.
You need experience, but I'm not going to give you experience.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think back to the old Tough Enough times and stuff when it was what's her face, fucking God, what was her name?
I don't know.
One of the Funkadactyls. That wasn't Naomi. I feel so bad for forgetting her name.
The other Funkadactyl.
Begins with an A. I can't remember her name.
It's cool.
Ariane or something. Yeah. But like Stone Cold like tore her a new one, didn't he? On thingy, because like what's your favourite match? And she was like, Alicia Fox versus, and he was like, that's your favourite match of all time. That was obviously something she'd just seen recently, kind of thing. You basically called her out on it. So it is a very.
And that's the bottom line.
What? But yeah, interesting stuff. Speaking of interesting stuff, Chris Hero is currently with AEW, Anthony.
Because they need a hero.
But we're not going to see him in the ring by all accounts. So it's in a producing role.
Sorry.
I see what you did there. But by all accounts, he's with the company, but he's working with Ring of Honor at the moment. He was a name that was suggested by the kind of higher ups in Ring of Honor, and he's there on as like a producer basis. But apparently he's there on a trial. He spent the last couple of weeks on the headset, kind of with the talent and going through matches and stuff like that. So it seems like they're giving him a pretty good run at it. But obviously he's one of the old school Ring of Honor guys. He's been around the business for ages. So yeah. He
has. Chris Hero's an interesting character to me, because even when he was in NXT as Cassius Ohno, I've not seen a great deal of him in the ring or even on screen, because WWE didn't do that an awful lot for him. But there's so much respect for this guy that obviously, as far as the wrestling business, they respect the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
So it's an absolute win for them. Even though I'm not too au fait with his career, you can tell just by how the business treats him that you go, okay, there's a lot of respect for this dude and what he does.
People absolutely love him, don't they? So it's a shame, his career never did take off for whatever reason. But yeah, if he can find new life as this kind of producer role, then yeah, best of luck to him.
Indeed. So, Carl, have you been expecting to see Jeff Hardy in any indie promotions recently?
I haven't really.
Well, funnily enough, on whatever Matt Hardy's podcast is called, that's now escaped me. He
developmentally speaking,
probably no. That's fuck you. On the amazing world of Matt, or whatever he calls it.
Things like the extreme life of Matt Hardy.
That makes more sense, actually. We'll go with that. The extreme life of Matt Hardy with Matt Hardy. Obviously, as Matt is now in control of the Jeff Hardy puppets, he is speaking for him, and he has confirmed that he is only concentrating on AEW at the moment. So he won't be doing any indie work or any indie promotions like that. And he's also confirmed that whilst he will be doing the odd sort of signing and con and stuff like that, he's limiting it to 2 a month. This is obviously, whilst I did sort of make a joke because Matt seems to give everyone this information rather than anyone hearing from Jeff, this is obviously all, I think, focused around Jeff being in the right mind space, following his rehab. So it's like, well, let's not do too much, or let's not put your body through too much, and then obviously you then self-medicate and so on. So he's concentrating on only working for AEW, which I think is probably a really wise move anyway.
Yeah, agreed. Do you know what, like, this is his last chance now, isn't it, to be honest? It really is. Yeah. So he absolutely can't blow it, and it's looking like he's gone and had the rehab, he's come back. So fingers crossed he sticks with it and stays sober, and yeah,
fingers crossed. No,
okay, sorry. But yeah, I much prefer this version than version 1.
Nice.
Can't remember the what is it?
Is it that? Did you just do that?
Is it just that?
Is that backwards? No, that's the right way.
Yeah. So yeah, jokes aside, good news.
When the middle finger's just not enough.
Yeah. Sorry, all 3. So yeah, that be the news. Interesting week. Lots of stuff happening at the minute.
That's the roundup here. Lots of stuff happening.
Stuff happens, and it's mildly interesting. And to find more mildly interesting stuff that happens, make sure you check in next week. Hit subscribe if you are watching on YouTube, and drop a like. If you're listening, leave a review. Download the app. What can you do? I never really know.
Leave a review. Click some links.
Yeah.
Buy some stuff.
Do some stuff.
It's all good.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
We got really bad at like promoting it. We probably sell t-shirts somewhere.
Yeah, I think we do.
There's a thumbs up somewhere
Yeah.
that you can click.
Yeah.
There's reviews you can leave. Only positive ones.
Yeah,
obviously.
we only want them.
Anything below 5 stars, you might as well not fucking bother. That's all I'm saying. What else we got?
That's it.
No.
That's all we got.
it.
That's all
Get
we
on
got.
our
That's all
Instagram,
you
follow
need.
us, and tell all your friends how fun we are.
Yes, you do that. And we'll catch
It's a soundbite right there waiting to happen.
We'll catch you on the next one.